what I want to do is we've got a group of moderators out here who are going to be coming in, and their mission today is to figure out what Joe's Restaurant downtown can do to get more people to eat dessert, okay? Not a very PC thing to do, but that's what their mission is going to be. And what I need is to get, with a focus group, in a typical focus group, there might be somewhere between 8 to 10, 6 to 10 people who a moderator or moderators talk with to try to learn things about what they're trying to answer. And typically they wouldn't find, what they wouldn't do is they wouldn't find vegetarians, or they wouldn't find people who have never eaten Italian food before, or people who never eat desserts, or vegans. They find people who kind of like the stuff and who did it before. What we can do is if we can move these 2 tables out here, that would be great. Now I need volunteers. First of all, who's ever been to Joe's before? Would you guys be willing to volunteer for the focus group? Okay, if you guys can all come down here, oh please, can all come down here. Now what we're going to do is we can seat you around the table. But come on up. But what we're going to do is we're going to be seated on the table. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now what I need is I need a couple guys. Any guys here that like Italian food? You want to come on down? Come on down, Chip. Tell me your name again, sir. George? George? Yeah. Come on down, George. Okay, if you guys want to sit, that'd be great. Just make yourself. And maybe what we'll do here, maybe what we'll do is we'll feed these out so we can get a little bit more people sitting. So typically what would happen, what would happen is that we would recruit these people, we'd pay them maybe 35 or 50 bucks, believe it or not, to be in this focus group. Focus group would take about 90 minutes. Preferably they wouldn't know each other. They would maybe basically know that it's about a restaurant, but they wouldn't even know that it's about eating desserts in a restaurant. And we'd have them in a place. Now typically what would happen is that you guys would be the clients, you'd be Joe's. And you'd be watching a lot of this from behind a one-way mirror. So you can see them, they can see you. And the moderator is going to do all sorts of weird things to try to get them to give really cool ideas. Ideas that you as Joe's can work with. And you're going to want to pay attention because what's going to happen is that after these guys, I'm going to give them about 5 to 7 minutes moderating and trying to figure out what Joe's can do to sell more desserts. After that time, what you're going to do is you're going to have a chance to ask questions of these people also. Then after that, we're going to take a break and we're going to say, okay, what can Joe's do within a week to start making a lot more money on desserts? Okay? Let's get our moderators here.
Weren't expecting this many people. Okay, so we wanted to start by asking you guys to think of a time, the last time that you went to a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, and think about if you ordered dessert or didn't order dessert, and we're just going to do a show of hands. So, show of hands for people who actually ordered dessert the last time they went to an Italian restaurant. Everyone else.
Everyone else didn't order the dessert, or you just haven't thought of the time yet? So, what was the experience like? Who were you with? Like, how come you bought that dessert?
I was with my aunt and uncle, and we were at a nice Italian restaurant, and the meal was a really good meal, and the proportion of the entree wasn't like huge, and we were enjoying ourselves, and basically they encouraged me to have dessert, and I thought I did too. And since the entree was so good, I figured the dessert would be good too.
And who's like they? Was it your waiter that encouraged it? Did they suggest it?
The waiter handed us menus, and he described like what the special was with dessert, and it sounded really good, and we jumped on it.
Did your audience and girls encourage you to serve dessert too?
Have you guys planned on getting like a whole like 3-course meal like before you went in, or were you just saw the desserts like I gotta have this?
It was more impulse.
For everybody else, when you didn't order dessert at the restaurant, had you already decided before you went in not to order dessert, or was it a decision afterwards? We do like a show of hands again just to make it easier because the group's big. So like people who decided not to order dessert before they went in. Everybody else, one person.
Okay.
And then everybody else, you guys decided when you were actually like in the restaurant, okay, I was thinking about it, I was kind of on the fence, but no.
So what could have the restaurant have done like better to encourage you to buy that dessert instead of not buy it? What was it about like the situation or like the desserts themselves that made you not want to?
It wasn't really the desserts themselves, but the portion. I had like some kind of pasta, and it was just so big and filling that there was no room for dessert.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the same thing, the portion was too big that I didn't finish my meal, so I didn't see a point to also get dessert.
Well, remember, have you guys ordered dessert before at a restaurant? Like, can we establish? Okay, so remember when you did get the dessert, was there something about the ambiance of the restaurant that made you get it? Was there something on the table? Was it something you saw? Maybe?
Sometimes they have like a deal where you can get 3 courses for, it's like a set price. And so I think that was the last time I ordered dessert.
Okay, so would you say like kind of like a not really an habitual dessert buy whenever you go out to dinner?
No.
Okay. And like what was it about how was like your service? Like was it like a quick service when you bought the dessert or kind of a slow one?
Slow service. Not slow service, but like it was
Relaxed.
sit down, really relaxed, eating with a bunch of people.
Well, like what do you guys think that like Joe's could do to get people to just really buy their desserts?
I think like sometimes they have it on the tables like a little quarter card or whatever, a little advertisement thingy, and then like it catches people's attention because I know it always gets mine like ooh brownie or
You're just kind of looking at it the whole dinner time.
Yeah, exactly, and then you're thinking about it, and then you end up purchasing it because it looks so good on the paper.
Okay. Anything else?
Been to some restaurants where they have like a glass refrigerator towards like the front of the restaurant, so when you walk in, you kind of like see the desserts displayed, and it sort of just like makes you think about it before you even enter your meal.
Like constant reminders. Some restaurants will have like the tray with like all the different desserts that they're serving that evening. You'll see them like walking around with it before and serving it to tables near you. You're like, I want that.
They could say like some of their most popular desserts when they're listing the specials, so that you're thinking about it while you're eating your meal.
Okay, so like in that vein, like would you, when you go on like a dessert menu or when they're telling you about it, do you kind of prefer to see those standard desserts that you know are going to be there? Or are you kind of like jumping at the specials? You like the dessert specials? Usually the specials? Okay.
Because that's like something you want. I like trying out new things and like. And it looks better because it's like, ooh, these flashy new special, those catch my attention, and then if it's just like ice cream or something, I can like go home and get it too.
Yeah, if it's something that I can like bake myself, then I'm not that interested. But if it's something that like sounds really complicated or takes a while, then I'll probably prefer.
So to you that it's something that's like not just some simple thing that you can see at any restaurant, but it's like specific to that particular restaurant, and you know that they're good at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever our family gets dessert, we always get tiramisu. So like if there wasn't tiramisu on the menu, we probably wouldn't get dessert.
Really?
So like, I don't know, you just get like stuck in your
So would you kind of always prefer the original plain old tiramisu, or like what if there was like a tiramisu variation?
We would have a variation. If
So
it's
something that's still familiar, but still kind of out of the ordinary and that takes time.
like recognizable, if it was something we've never heard of, I wouldn't order it.
I'd say a mixture of both specials and normal, because sometimes if like other people in my family are getting dessert, then I don't want to just be sitting there doing nothing, so I'll get like a small like normal dessert like ice cream, just because it's like something I can have, so I'm not like just sitting there.
Okay. And like think about the time that you guys like last bought a dessert. Who were you with? Were you with family, friends? like, who do you think that you're more like apt to buy desserts with?
Usually family, I think.
Is that because your family's paying, you're usually not paying for it?
If you're family members, let's say like you're with your family, if your family members are getting dessert, do you guys usually get dessert as well? Or do you guys feel more inclined to get dessert then? Like you're kind of like encouraging you silently?
So what if there was some sort of like deal, like if you bought, like if you're like a big group of people and like they had, the restaurant had to be like, you know, like 5 desserts for like this one price, would that be more appealing to you? Because then everyone's kind of having a little dessert and you're not the only one?
Yes and no. A lot of times sharing desserts, because usually they're not like individual size portions, or at least you don't want to eat something that, like you don't want to eat that much of something yourself. So yeah, usually it's just like one dessert with 4 spoons or something and everyone's picking at it.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think a lot of people don't want to be the only person ordering dessert.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so if someone else is ordering, I'll order too.
So when you think about like when you bought dessert, do you think it was the dessert attributes, like the desserts themselves that really sold you, or the waiter, or the kind of restaurant ambiance, or kind of the previous meal that you've already had already? That day.
It's more just like the experience.
What kind
More
of
than the
experience?
food, just the company. And a lot of times, like if I go out with my friends, we'll order dessert, like if we ordered a bottle of wine or something, and we're not finished, but we're finished with our meal. And so we want to finish the bottle of wine, but like we don't have anything else to eat, so we'll just order dessert and kind of just, even if we don't finish it.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the atmosphere of the restaurant, like lighting, decorations, tablecloths, anything like that?
Is that
The last time that you ate out and didn't decide to get dessert, or did decide to get dessert? Is there anything that like, sticks out in your mind?
I mean, I was, like, we were sitting outside on kind of like a little porch, and it was sort of like a courtyard actually, and like in the middle there was this like little leaf fountain and like trees, like it was a really nice atmosphere.
What about like how much information is given about the dessert? Does that ever affect your choices? Like whether like a waiter would go up and like describe it in detail, like saying how the chef makes it, or all the way to like the calorie count? Like how does that affect you?
I think the pictures really helps, because if it's just like writing, or if just the waiter describes it, I don't really understand it that much, but if it's pictures, I know what it's going to look like, and I know whether or not I'll like it more.
Is there some other cue maybe other than visual that makes you want to get a dessert?
Yeah.
It has the word peanut butter in it.
What are some other keywords that you see in like, you know, the product, like the description or the title that you're like, oh, I love that.
Chocolate.
Chocolate, peanut butter.
If they're, you know, some kind of a berry pie or something, if they say it's a local,
Oh, okay.
you know, blueberry or, you know, apple, whatever, sometimes that's.
Good, excellent, excellent. Other questions from the from the rest of us? Again, we want to go in and give Joe's report tomorrow about changes that they can make this weekend. And now's your chance. What other questions do you have of these people? You guys just call and people can raise their hand. Okay. This gentleman back here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that they serve too much food, so there's no room for the dessert, right? So my question is, have you ordered desserts from other restaurants? Well, when you have the same experience, like you eat a lot, but they serve too much food.
I feel like usually when I get dessert, it's when I've had a later meal and there's still room for it. You know, if you already have like half a plate of pasta left, do you really want dessert on top of that?
So you do have, so most of the people don't have this. So they have the same situation, like, so too much food can often the major problem, so you don't order dessert. So any of you will go back to the Joe when they cut down the amount to the 70% of the food. So like, I will reduce the amount of serving food, so it's
Maybe if they did some sort of special where you get like a smaller, like a little salad and then like a smaller entree and then have that with the dessert.
Alright, so you guys want to order dessert if we provide this kind of service, right?
If they still have the plates of pasta like this, probably not.
Would you ever stop yourself from eating, like, you know, like once you like, are like, oh, I'm kind of getting full, I gotta stop so I can save them for dessert, and then you always just bring home the rest of your entree in the doggy bag? How come that's?
If I was with my parents and they were paying, it'd probably be more likely.
Yeah. but like would anyone else?
I've actually done that. I know the desserts are really good, I'll only eat half the entree and get the other half wrapped so that I can have the dessert. So,
Even if you had a big meal, if the dessert itself were smaller, would you consider getting it? Just a little, you would?
Yeah, like I don't know where it is, I think it's Applebee's or whatever, they have the little dessert shooters. Yeah, which is perfect because it gives you a taste, but even if you're full, it doesn't stuff you.
Someone mentioned that if they have like a bottle of wine, they would want to get dessert to like finish their wine. Is that the same with like everyone in this group? Like if you had like a bottle of wine to finish, would you be more inclined to get dessert?
I think so, because you're sitting there talking, finishing the wine, you have the time. I don't know.
Does variety and choice make a difference if the restaurant has like a whole list of different types of dessert, or if we just have like a few choices, like 2 or 3?
I think a lot of times I decide if I'm gonna get dessert right after I'm done eating my meal, before I even see the dessert menu. You know, once I ask for a dessert menu, I'm gonna get dessert unless it's really unappealing.
Do you guys think it makes a difference whether that dessert menu is attached to the original menu so you can kind of see what desserts are there when you're buying your food? Or do you like the separate dessert menu that you only see, like if you want to see it at the end of the meal? What do you think that like, when you see it ahead of time, that would make a difference of whether you're going to actually end up buying it? When you see it like the first time?
If I see it ahead of time and I find something that I really like, then I'll then aim and like get a smaller entree. So if I see it before, then I change it.
So you think it's like a smarter idea if Joe's trying to sell more desserts to have that dessert menu attached to the original?
I probably wouldn't look at it.
Really?
Any more questions from the back here? You only get 3 more here.
It's like would be the difference if it was like a family style restaurant where like if they don't feel like, if they feel like still maintaining the same portions because that's what they want to offer, but if it was more family style, so you ended up, you could eat less of your meal with your group, then you might want dessert. Would that affect anyone's decision?
I think Joe's kind of is like that, except for with the small pasta dish, they say that it's will feed 1 person, but I found that it can feed 2 people, and then so sometimes we order the medium because it says it serves like 2 to 3 people, but really I feel like you could feed like 5 people. So like maybe the recommendations on the menu for how much to order.
Yeah.
I was wondering how often you might go to a place like Madeline's or Cafe Pacific or CTV just to have desserts with a group of friends.
I've never been I'd rather go to like McDonald's or Burger. Yeah. Cheaper and quicker.
I'd rather go to Sudman.
So you're really looking for like the whole experience, not just the dessert. Another question?
All right, excellent job, So see you there soon. Yay! Usually when these things go on, we want to get people really tanked up on like caffeine and sugar and stuff like that because it makes them more lively thing. So typically what is offered at almost all these places is big bowls of M&Ms. So you got it. Give you a little bit of a We'll ask you guys can go back to your seats now, but I want you to keep this in mind because I'm going to be actually asking you questions as you go back. So if I ask questions, oh, there we are.
Go back to right.
Hey, you can go back. Okay. Well, no, you can go back. So how'd you guys think they did? What did they do that you think really sort of brought out some great ideas in you guys? What were some techniques? What were some tricks? What were some strategies they used?
I really like when they started off saying, like, imagine the last time you went to an Italian restaurant, did you order dessert or not? So it kind of conjures up an image in your mind.
Yeah, that was really good because you think specifically, not like, well, theoretically, price does play an important part. when the last 15 times you've gone, there's played no part. Yeah, very good. Excellent, excellent. What else did they do that was really, really neat?
They asked about a lot of different aspects of the restaurant experience, from like seeing the food at like the cart being carried around, and if the menu would have an impact, or if the waiter would just them saying it would have an impact.
Yeah, it wasn't about, do you like tiramisu or do you like peanut butter pie? It was more about what are the cues around that are doing that. What was a question that you thought they asked that you thought, wow, that's really cool?
Whether or not having the menu, dessert menu on the table for them to look at while they waited, because you're waiting for your food. You know, something to do, and looking at the dessert menu is one of those things.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times in focus groups, they're directed that we'll talk about this issue, then talk about this issue, then we'll talk about this issue, but they don't get into the specifics. And the great thing that you guys did was you came up with specific ideas that, in essence, you're going to kind of test market on these people. So if they didn't bring it up, you actually said, what about table tents? And that's really, really neat. What else did they do that you thought really made, did you think the group had pretty good momentum? Yeah, they.
They did a good job of kind of following up with new questions that you continue from what happened with your experience and then why or what made you choose that.
Excellent. It's almost like a laddering interview, kind of, and in some ways, because they didn't just say, good, now you, good, now you, good, all up. Good. You guys did a wonderful job. One more time.
I like that they kind of had a show of hands question at the beginning, because it sort of sparks the participation.
You got that, and it's tough for you guys too, because usually you're doing focus groups and there's a mirror there, and you know somebody's behind there, but it's not 40 people. You guys did excellent. What do you think you could have done better? Now looking back on the experience, you only had about 10 minutes prepared for this. You did a tremendous job. And what would you do a little bit differently if you would have had a chance?
We were very surface level. Like I felt like we weren't really getting into things that we wouldn't have thought of on our own. Like if we have a focus group that would pretty much know more than we would, or like have different ideas, like I felt like we were kind of generating the same things we could do ourselves.
Okay. What could you have done to prevent that from happening? If we could turn time back an hour.
Maybe ask more direct and poignant questions rather than well, what do you think of this, and kind of them giving a yes or no, having them be the ones that are generating more of the ideas if there had been more time, and kind of working more from the broader to the more specific, so they had time to really be talking about it a while before we had to dive right into the specific.
Good.
I think I would have made the environment that we were asking them a little more friendly. It just seemed weird that the tables were kind of like this, and people were sitting on and standing, and I couldn't see everybody stare at you too while you're answering questions. I think it would have been easier to get more answers out of them if we'd been sitting around.
Which you typically would, yeah. This is for theater. You guys did a great job, and I think, Kirsten, you got something for them? Yeah, sure. Let's give him a hand. Thank you, folks. You can grab a seat. Now, that was totally a waste of time if we don't come up with 4 keys related to what Joe's can do. And that's what we're going to be doing right now. So think about what they said, what you heard from the group. Thank you, I appreciate that. You're already getting ready to order your dessert off here, weren't you? Thanks. So, if we look at what we learned from these guys, what advice would you give? Here's the to-do list for Joe. What ideas did you get that you thought were pretty cool that would be actually
Smaller portions,
What's that?
smaller entree portions.
For everything, or
Both of the entrees.
what's that?
For some of the pastas, I'll go a smaller option.
Oh, a smaller option. Not, no, we're not going to cut everything in half. Maybe a small option, maybe a half size. Maybe for 2 or 3 of the top things, maybe a half size portion. Okay. So maybe instead of
Yeah, but you don't necessarily want to have like a half-size option because then you're going to have to charge them less for the entree. So like if you just made the entree plate smaller, like and didn't tell anybody.
okay, a small option, or we could decrease the size, or we could just for 2 or 3 things, just have instead of
Like
10
the
ounces for
regular
$10.
size, yeah, like the regular size pasta, if it's normally 10 ounces of pasta, make it now 6 ounces of pasta.
And one thing that's interesting, so let's say instead of 10 ounces for $10, we do 5 ounces for $7, but then we end up settling a $5 dessert. Ooh. Okay, good. So certain things we did. What else did we learn from the... Yes?
Have the waiter or waitress suggest it when they tell them the specials. So like for dessert today, I recommend this or this. So it kind of puts it in their mind ahead of time.
And do that up front.
Yeah.
You know, I used to live in this another college town, and there was a French restaurant. It was our favorite French restaurant, a small town. And what they would do there is they'd say, you know, for desserts, we've got a dessert sampler plate, but you know, it takes about an hour and 15 minutes to prepare it. So if you want it, you have to order it before your meal. What happens? I mean, you're there, you're starving. You're like, oh yeah, put it in for me. So you've committed actually before you even finish your thing. Excellent. Yes?
An attractive dessert display at a prominent place.
Attractive dessert. Display like, what did you say?
Prominently placed like the front of the restaurant.
Okay, so it could be in the form of a cart. It could be in the form of like a freezer or something, you know, like at Madeline's or things like this. Yes?
Pictures of the desserts on the menu.
Where do you want the pictures? Just
Well, like on there's like a separate dessert menu, or one of those things that stays on the table the whole time.
and that could be either in a table tent or it could be in the menu. Good, excellent. And not like something you took with your iPhone, but actually something that, you know.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Wayne back!
They talked about kind of like the occasions and kind of like
Yes.
families, so I would make it more options for people to be able to like share plates and share desserts and that kind of thing, and kind of encouraging sharing and families to come in together, like groups of people. Because they also said that they were more inclined to eat dessert if other people were eating it. So.
Got it. So we didn't have some for 2 people.
I think if they kept the dessert menu separate, but then every waitress just brought it to the table rather than sometimes they'll ask you, like, would you like to see the dessert menu? Just give it to them whether or not, you know, like naturally after you pick up their food.
Okay, don't ask, just bring it. Excellent. Yes?
But maybe staying on like a classic dessert, sometimes just brownies, like salted caramel brownies or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, there are classic desserts here, but you can't go ho hum. But if it was like some sort of like chocolate pie with peanut butter and foie gras, you know, you'd go. Wait.
Offer those like maybe 3-course meal for fixed price menu. So you could do like the portion might be smaller for the entree, and then you get also dessert for a lower price for all three.
And they're committed.
Sometimes restaurants have a chalkboard of specials that they write down, so maybe they can write down their best desserts or the specials for the desserts they're constantly seeing.
Yes, very, very good. Yes.
People seem to react very strongly to the specials idea, so like play that up or even maybe like word it as like limited time, like, you know, like something like in season or something like it's really a week special.
Outstanding ideas. Outstanding ideas. Great, that was done with 15 minutes of preparation by those guys. You guys sitting in front of 40 people. Incredible insights. Well, that gives you a little bit of idea about the way we can do these. Now these slides, if you've done the slides off of Blackboard, you'll be able to get these things. So we talked a little bit about qualitative data. That's one way to collect primary data. The second way is to do it quantitatively. Surveys, telephone, mail, web stuff, things like this. And the second thing being experiments. And that's mainly most of the stuff that we do down in the lab, experiments. And those are going to be some of the things that you're going to be involved in on Thursday and Friday, Thursday or Friday. And then we're going to be doing something in class on Monday about that too. But to give you a cost to marketing research, before somebody flippantly says, well, you know what I would do is I'd go do a survey or I'd do a focus group. The problem about doing these things is that they are not cheap at all. And if, for instance, if you want to write down focus group, ladder interview, telephone, mail, mall intercept, to give you an idea, 2 focus groups, not unlike the one you saw done here with a write-up, about $15,000. Okay. You guys did it for M&Ms. Okay. So you don't have to, a lot of this stuff you can even do yourself. Ladder interviews, for 10 ladder interviews, you're going to be paying about $20,000. Okay. Telephone surveys, we just finished one. See, we just finished one a short time ago for a company with 500 interviewees, about $35,000. Okay. Meal questionnaires for 300, analyzed and sent back. It's going to be just a little over $20,000. And mall intercepts become even higher. You can do things online, but a lot of the stuff you do online, you have to be extremely careful. We'll do some things online, and it's not like you survey monkeys. You're going to get, a lot of not good stuff. You want real, legitimate people. You have to pay them money to do it, so you're not just getting some person who doesn't have anything else to do at their time. And we just finished a survey with, actually I was down in New York presenting this last week for bird's eye frozen vegetables, and it's 500 people on the internet, over 30,000 bucks. So it's really expensive to do that stuff. And it's not that I don't believe in it. I do believe in quantitative research. In fact, kind of wrote the leading book on it, and the leading book on panels. But for almost everything that you guys do, you're not going to need to go that far. You can get what you need out there, insight sources, in ladder interviews, and the secondary research. Now, with just a minute left,
where does the cost come from on those telephone interviews? Are you paying the person you're interviewing, or the person that
you're paying them some sort of incentive? Might be as little as $5. They'll get a little $5 card. But it comes from you having to do random dialing 9 times. You get one person who says, "Yeah, I'll talk to you," and yes, I qualify. Okay. In summary, I think what we want to leave with is that there's a lot of different ways to get at this person and understand this person. Okay, secondary research, ladder interviews, focus groups, intercept surveys, in-home tests, direct observation, insight sources. The more important it is to really super accurately see your precise detail, the more of these you're going to want to use. But for the purposes of this class, and for the purposes of most stuff you're going to do, 1 or 2 of these things is going to be sufficient. All right, well, I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend.